Well, hello, this is video number 2 for today, but this is a VR for Trucking Piper Bob. His recent question was, what was your favorite book as a child? What is your favorite book as an adult? Well, as a child, it was easy. King of the Wind. It's a Newbery Award-winning book I read in, I want to say, third grade. Yeah, third, maybe fourth grade, probably third or fourth grade. But it's it's a historical fiction account of the Golfing Dolphin, I probably butchered that French pronunciation. Forgive me. But about the Golfing Arabian horse, horse racing, about a mute stable boy who travels with this horse that he loves from Morocco into France, and it's a very black stallion, black beauty kind of a story. That was obviously that. I mean, when he said, what's your favorite childhood book, that's the first one that popped into mind, and I sat and thought about it a while because I was like, that's third or fourth grade. Maybe there was a childhood book before that, but if there was, I can't remember it. So obviously that's the one that stuck with me, and I bought a copy of that for my second daughter because she's very into horses, and she shows and does jumping and dressage, and that's going to be her career path. She has already found her life's passion. God bless her. I wish I'd found mine that young. But yeah, so absolutely, that was my favorite as a kid. Now, as an adult, well, like a lot of people in the YTPC, I'm a big fan of fantasy fiction. Of course, I love Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit. All those are wonderful books. I find them as great comfort reading. Um, I also obviously am a huge fan of poetry. I have the whole series on that. Um, 17th century metaphysical poets. I like John Donne and a big Samuel Johnson is awesome. Not only in terms of poetry, but in terms of prose and modern poetry. Malcolm Guite is wonderful. Um, but in terms of like a novel book, I have to say, The Captain Wears a Cross. It's the story of it's a true story of, it's an autobiography, really, of a Navy chaplain who lived and served through both World Wars. He was a Catholic priest, and then joined up to serve as a Navy chaplain in World War II as a young man, and stayed in and through and served all the way through World War II. And he actually wrote 2 books. There's Rig for Church and The Captain Wears a Cross, and they're both great books. He's a wonderful writer. He was a wonderful writer. He's passed on, obviously, but in terms of just framing everything, and just a wonderful person. He never mentions it in his books, but he received all kinds of war decorations for his service as a chaplain in the Navy through those world wars. And the first book, he kind of writes it from his journal, and his last journal entry is the night before the attack on Pearl Harbor, and he was at Pearl Harbor. So he ends this journal and gets the book, written right up until that point. And so the second book starts during the attack on Pearl Harbor, because he responded during the attack on Pearl Harbor. And some of you may be familiar with that phrase, "Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition." Uh, where there's a chaplain who says, he's manning one of the guns, shooting the zeros, and one of the other sailors says, "Chaplain, what are you doing?" He's like, "Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition." Right? That phrase is attributed to him, but he was not the one who said it. The chaplain that did that, and who did say that, was killed in the attack. He was shooting the gun. He did say that, but he did end up being killed. Because chaplains are not meant to fire weapons, carry weapons. They're prohibited from that as non-combatants. And he made it very clear, as he was going around trying to raise money with war bonds. They attributed this to him. He's like, "No, that was not me. We're not really supposed to do that." but it's a great story, and he kind of goes all over the world in these different ships and meets different people and in his service in both world wars. And it's just a wonderful book, and it's an easy book to read, over and over again. Both of them really are. I've read both of them a few times, and they're great. So King of the Wind, and then The Captain Wears a Cross, and Rig for Church. Kind of, it's two books, but it's one person's story, so we can count that as one. But in any case, here's my response for you. Have a lovely week. See you next time.